think that's near the open record statute. But anyway, in Texas Local Government Code 102, it provides the obligation that the governing body of the municipality shall take action on a proposed budget and vote, and there shall be a record vote. And then this following provision is the governing body may make any changes to the budget that it considers warranted by the law or the best interest of the municipal taxpayers. Again, governing body, and after final approval, the governing body may spend municipal funds only in strict compliance with that budget, except in an emergency. And then the following provision is, if the city has a charter, those charter provisions regarding the budget apply. And that's where we go to, I believe it's section 3, I want to make sure I'm citing this right. Section 86 of the city charter that says, no money shall be drawn from the treasury, nor any obligation for the expenditure of money being incurred except in pursuant of an annual or interim fiscal period appropriation ordinance. It sounds like to me there's just money left over on a budget or on a contract that wasn't fully spent, and so why not just use it for whatever we want? That's exactly what I just heard, was we might have money left over on a task order contract. We don't know what type of work it is, but let's assume it is this type of work. We haven't spent it all, so we can just do whatever. This is just free money for staff to do as long as it's in a scope. And even then, the city charter says it's not in the scope. This does not have to do with planning, opening, construction, maintenance, or repair of any street or sidewalk. None of those things, it doesn't need to be repaired. Brought into compliance from new laws, it's not repaired. If the Federal Department of Transportation said we are going to follow England and go to the other side of the road, that's not repair. Putting new street markings on sidewalks, that's compliant, or street markings on streets. That is something different than repair. And if you look at the plain language of the budget, which is, this is the only evidence before us for today, none of the things that they're talking about, moving messages and removing streets and installing sidewalks, relate to these items. And I may ultimately be proven wrong. When we confer and look at these ordinances and we look at the task order contracts, which I haven't seen, maybe I am wrong. But the evidence that the court has before today is statutory citations and charter provisions and a copy of the budget that does not comport with the type and scope of work planned by the city in its January 5th memo. And until we can resolve that issue, I think the court can give us essentially what we both want in a saving as possible. And as a side note, the sidewalk, I mean, they said they could place a pause on it. If their position is the city can do whatever they want, they can change that position tomorrow. And I'm not impugning anyone's forthcomingness, but I'm just saying that if we're talking vague possibilities, that's about as vague as the city getting $100 million withheld on January 16th doesn't happen. But a TRO offers legal cover to the city to not comply with its own purported deadline that was not required by the state. It just said comply without a deadline. And gives us an opportunity to investigate these matters full evidentiary hearing, in which I do think testimony and witnesses will be very valuable in aiding the court. Right now we're just kind of talking, but right now I think the court has enough issues here.
Ms. Kirkland, what's your response to Mr. Nichols' characterization that essentially this is just kind of extra money that's been allocated in a general fund of sorts, and now it's just being allocated for this type of project, and therefore because it was not specifically contemplated, now requires additional approval above and beyond what was originally given to fund the broad budget category?
The way I'm going to respond, and I do not mean it to come off as trite or disrespectful, the reality is a city budget is incredibly complicated. The city does a lot of incredibly complicated tasks. A city council at the beginning of the year, and we could talk about it, but the city budgetary process starts 9 months before it actually gets going. So when they are doing these sorts of things, they have to do high level because they cannot anticipate everything that will come up. So to say that this idea that there's this general slush fund, it's a mischaracterization of how the city budgets. The city budget and the city council has determined, actually the charter says, we have these departments. These departments have these functions. every year, city council says, departments, you have these functions. This is the amount of money that you have to accomplish it, and you need to accomplish it in that manner. So to say that it's kind of disingenuous to say it's a slush fund. It's not. It's a general fund. That's what it's called. And you know, if there's a large expenditure to be had, that's why the city does these task order contracts. And I understand what he's saying is there's evidence we're talking about, and because of that, we should go to a TI. The TRO has to be granted on its own merits, meaning the plaintiffs had to be able to put forth evidence that they were going to succeed on the merits. And as we sit here, they haven't been able to establish that the funds that are going to be used are misappropriated. And I do want to point out one thing, because there's this question of it would be so easy. It would be so easy to put this on account. Why don't we just do that? Because if that was the standard, city council would grind to a halt anybody who had a challenge to a sidewalk regardless of the cost. If I disagreed with how my trash was being picked up, if there was anything like that that had funding but I disagree with it, sure, the simple solution would be to take it to council, but that's not the function. Council has delegated obligated responsibilities to departments for this exact reason, and now we're second guessing it, and there's no legal basis to do so. And for that reason, while again, I think it may accomplish everybody's goal if it was granted, that's not the reason to grant it to you. And so respectfully, we would ask the court decline.
And one more question. So does the Public Works Director routinely have discretion in essentially ordering that these types of projects, I'm not talking about a political, associated project or politics has been drawn into a public works issue. But if this was a $175,000 budget to repave a road, does the Public Works Director routinely just approve that? Or would the director require additional approval from a higher up? Not a higher up, but a city council vote.
My answer would be twofold. One, the charter, as a very high level, says Public Works head the department, right? So it gets to oversee all functions. Mm-hmm. Separately, yes, there is a function where if it's over 100,000, they would have to go, which is what happened here. And by this, the Public Works Department, including the head of the Public Works, got directive from council saying this is your allocation. You have a certain scope of work that needs to be accomplished. And so within that, yes, there's discretion, of course, for them to accomplish projects.
Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Nichols, before I make a ruling?
Your Honor, I just wanted to, you guys just do a little bit of research. San Antonio has a public art ordinance that was amended, I think, under Mayor Castro, that requires 1% of money from the capital fund to be spent on public art. Again, there's a public arts commission, and the charter holds that the city council is the one who gets to decide in terms of that. If anything, I just can't imagine that, because they still have not shown the nexus where, because it happens to be on a road or sidewalk, that the Public Works Department is acting within that limited scope. The charter does give council broad scope. The law says the governing body must authorize budgetary amendments and allocations. I don't know how the charter definition of public works, planning, opening, construction, maintenance, or repairs, I don't know how artistic enhancements plays into any of that, or removal of otherwise authorized art. Why did we do an ordinance in the first place for the crosswalk if one's not needed now? So, that's all I have, Your Honor. I appreciate the court's time and attention, and with great respect and deference to my counterpart. Thank you for
And I'm sorry, Ms. Kirkland, I have one more question. I'm sorry, just based on that. Is all of the funding that is allocated to work on the crosswalk and the sidewalk, that's all public works money? There's nothing coming from money that's allocated for public art?
Correct.
Okay.
And I would also say this, to the extent it matters and it's helpful to the court, the way that this was funded, the way the crosswalk is being funded now, this task order is the same way it was funded back in 2018 when it was originally funded. This is not a unique or new sort of process. And so to the extent that is helpful for that. But again, we rely on sort of our arguments. Based on the arguments that they have asserted in support of their TRO, we would argue they haven't met their burden to be entitled to one today.
Thank you. I guess first off, I want to start off by, I greatly appreciate the civility, Mr. Nichols and Ms. Kirkland and everyone that you've brought here, today. It's much appreciated by the court, and I wish, more attorneys and pro se litigants would, remember to be kind even when they're advocating for themselves or for their clients, so thank you for doing that. Mr. Nichols, I appreciate your strong argument. You raised very good points, but this is a political mess that's been brought, and now the city and various groups in the community are having to deal with the political issue. It is not the job of this court or any other court to involve themselves in political issues. That's not our realm. So for me, this boils down to whether there is a requirement by the city that required additional approval. And based on what I have in front of me today, I don't see that there was an additional requirement that the city of San Antonio needed to comply with, that they did not, Mr. Nichols. So therefore, I respectfully, I deny your request and relief today. But I do appreciate you advocating, because like I said, I think you made many good points, but it's not this court's place to tell the city of San Antonio how they need to comply with the law, or what they should and not fight for. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and return your binder, Mr. Nichols. If you all will circulate an order, please submit it through Odyssey. Just put in the comments that it was heard by me today on the 9th, and it'll make its way to my queue, and I'll get that signed for you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Judge.
All right. Thank you. May be seated.
Leave it with the perimeter. I'll give it a second.
Don't mean that anyway. Chatting about it.
No, I agree.
Oye, perdón, ¿qué decidieron?
Que no lo van a...
No van a, you can say anything.
They're not going to stop there. No lo van a pagar. Sí van a quitar.
Si van a quitar los y no van a pagar para pintar. Quieren quitar la banqueta.
Eso es. Pero ahorita no van a pagar.
Phil, are we gonna get sound from everybody? Are you gonna get sound from everybody?
Yeah, we probably met at people. Yeah. I used to be part of the committee. Right before it was formal. I used to.
Nice to meet you. Bonnie. Okay, nice to meet you.
Oh, okay. That was a while ago. Yeah.
And what? Actually, they moved together again back to the original. Which university? Okay. Oh. Thanks for your presence. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
I took some classes serious in the city.
Should we have a couple of things? So we have a shot. This one.
Thanks for everything. I appreciate it. I think this is weird.
Work is scheduled for a lot of times. This is a fast evolving situation. That's not my fault.
Okay. All right.
Sidewalk. I'm sure also prefer the city.
Like you did when you came up with that. Real bad.
so a temporary restraining order procedurally is just the first step. We can still set a hearing with 3 days notice for a full temporary injunction hearing. I don't know that this point on Friday afternoon is a lot to be done with the rules of that hearing. But,
I'm gonna grab my mic.
A lot of clarity from this.
Oh,
There's no way we can get in there.
Feel that they've been properly heard instead of happening so quickly.
Yeah, he's taking off.
Who's Joey? Somebody's gonna do the talking here from the city side.
Yeah, the city's.
Joey, where's Joey? Hi, everybody.
Is it there? Well, if you want to, we're setting up right now anyways, so.
Come up over here.
Yeah, if you can come up over here, we're all set up.
These are members of the LGBTQ board committee. So,
Let me do the mic.
Hold on one
Do
second.
you want to do yours?
do I just speak?
One moment. We got all the mics? Good. All right, so first can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Maria Salazar. I am chair for San Antonio's Lesbian, Gay, Transgender, Bisexual Committee.
Okay, and the advisory board?
Yes, the
Okay.
formal LGBTQ plus advisory committee.
How do you feel about today's decision to deny the TRO?
Well, it's exciting with regards to the sidewalks because we can go forward with that. We are excited. We are looking forward to working with the community in enhancing the LGBTQ plus historic district on Main Street. There is no argument that we're all disappointed that the crosswalk had to come down. But in the end, we have the opportunity for this community to do bigger and better things. So that is our position today.
The crosswalk's leaving, sidewalk coming in is the plan. How do you feel about that trade-off?
Well, that's where we are. That's my understanding. I mean, we suspended that project because of this suit. Now we know we can go forward. We're excited to make that project a reality. There's a lot of support for that.
Sorry to interrupt you. There was some questioning today about the kind of method by which the city staff and the LGBTQ plus advisory board kind of went about collaborating together, kind of a question of whether or not you all have the authority to do this. Can you kind of speak to that question?
This is a committee that was formalized, and each of us represents all 10 districts, okay? We advise. We, at the very beginning, knew that this was going to be a possibility, and we asked for information about what happens if we have to take down the crosswalk when we started seeing what was happening around the country. So we've been informed and watching what are our options. So I believe that this committee is a vital instrument for the LGBTQ plus community and this city. So we took everything into account. What it means to lose $80 million in public works, because again, District 1 is a very popular area for the LGBTQ plus community, but the LGBTQ plus community lives in Districts 1 through 10. And so we understood all the implications, and that is our job, is to take all that information and advise City Council and the mayor. So we took our recommendation very seriously. And that is the whole point of having a formal commission, is to give our mayor and our City Council advice on what we believe would be best not only for our community, but for our respective districts.
The board released a statement earlier about expressing disappointment with Pride San Antonio for joining this lawsuit. We're joining with the TCLF. Anything you want to say about that? I mean, Pride San Antonio is, the organizer of the Pride Parade, and they, Pride bigger than Texas Festival, and you've got the advisory board clashing with one of the largest groups in the within that community.
We have been very familiar with Pride San Antonio's position. This commission meets monthly, and Pride San Antonio has made their position known, and they have the information that we have in terms of why we made the different recommendations that we did. So we understand the situation, and we understand the investment that they have in this crosswalk. But they're a part of the community, and there's a lot of us who have a lot of input on what that part of our city looks like. and that is the LGBTQ plus historic district.
The advisory board had said,
Okay,
the advisory board had said initially, that, like at the beginning of this whole process, when the textile order came down, that you all wanted the city to sue if they were not granted
and we made that abundantly clear, that we wanted the city to pursue all options.
Is
What
that
can we do?
still what you want, is for the city to sue the state at this point?
No, we are going to follow, we can't take a position on that. We're going to follow the law and the information we have. And our recommendation is to continue working to enhancing the LGBTQ plus district and all around the city.
If y'all want to speak to Debbie, she's
Yeah.
got-
What's your name again?
Maria Salazar, and I am the chair for San Antonio's LGBTQ plus board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Can we mic them up this time so I don't have to sit down?
Hey, y'all, Debbie's got a few minutes.
Got it.
Only a few minutes, okay. Can we put these mics on you real quick? Is that okay?
Sure.
Just, yep.
Here, I guess.
I'll put this one right
that okay?
here. Oops, sorry about that. Put that like that. And this one. This one like this, and then
Can you call and check? Or?
there's another one over here.
Okay.
And we will just put all of them.
You didn't warn
Yep.
me about this, Brian.
That's comes with the
In here.
territory.
There you go.
You know, in your job description.
Yeah, they left this out. You're gonna get wired.
Duties as assigned.
They don't tell you to wear sturdy clothes. No. You're going to be a human mic tree.
All right, so do you want to let everyone know? your
Sure.
title?
So I'm Debbie Klein. I'm the Deputy City Attorney over litigation and overseeing the litigation, so I'm here to answer any questions. We'd just like to say we're pleased with the decision today. The city has tried its best to balance the interest of the public at large with the making sure that we get the funding necessary from the Texas Department of Transportation to do the projects that need to be done for the community at large, while still recognizing and respecting the spirit of the intent behind the crosswalks as it was installed. And we feel like we've struck that balance, and by the judge's decision today, we're hoping we can move forward and get past this and have a good resolution.
What are the next step? Yeah, what are the next steps? The city manager had said sidewalks are on pause in part because of this lawsuit. Does that now mean the project can go ahead, or is it still on pause? And is work to remove the crosswalk still on for next week?
So the work to remove the crosswalk is still on for next week. The pause in the sidewalk work was based on this hearing. We'll have to get back and circle back with the city manager's office on next steps. But at this point, there's nothing that would prohibit us from moving forward.
It sounded like there was also some concern from council members. Could that hold it up, or is that?
That would be within the manager's discretion, how he wants to move forward.
It sounds like it's not clear whether or not Mr. Nichols' clients will want to move forward with this case, but do you view it as if this crosswalk comes up next week, is the case essentially done?
I mean, that, again, you're right. It's his client's decision how to handle that. But I believe that once it's installed and the crosswalk is removed, that moots the issues in this case.
So does that mean the sidewalks can start being painted on Monday?
We do, yes, they could be, because we do not have a court order prohibiting us from doing that.
But it sounded like from that memo that it looks like City Manager Walsh was going to wait until he could have an executive session with council members. Do you know when that might happen?
I do not know when that would happen.
And this threat that you guys are mentioning, this $80 million, was it $80 million, just to clarify, that the state could withhold?
I believe that there's $80 million currently pending that could be withheld in various projects that are already approved across the city.
And that's what, state and federal road funding, or what's the terminology, I guess?
That I'm going to ask John to.
You can send me those questions. We'll get that to you.
Okay.
As far as the next steps, so just to make sure, Monday kept getting thrown around, but in previous memos from the city manager's office, it sounds like there's a date range. When exactly is the crosswalk going to be pulled up? Like what day?
The work is scheduled to start on Monday.
And how long approximately will that take to complete?
About a week. So we would hope to have it completed by next week.
And then there was some talk about how the will potentially be salvaged, or pieces of it will be salvaged for a future artwork piece. Is that still the plan?
That is still the plan.
There was kind of an accusation from a council member that is actually kind of driving up the cost of this project, that like trying to salvage pieces is making it more expensive. Is that accurate?
That's, if we can forward that to Brian, we can get some details. I don't have those specific numbers on that.
Okay, and then kind of similarly, a question that kind of came up repeatedly during this discussion today was exactly how much of the $170,000 of the project is really for tearing up versus putting in the paint. I guess, is there any kind of a breakdown, or even if it's very high level,
You can
that we
send that to me
get?
too. I'll get that to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you
Thank
repeat
you.
your name again?
Debbie Klein,
Can you spell your last name?
K-L-E-I-N.
And your,
And I'm the Deputy City Attorney over litigation.
gotcha.
Thank you.
You're gonna let my
Brian, I'm
Oh, I was about